Hello, comparative religions. Now, I told you this week that I was going to send out answer keys to the comparison contrast sheet for the flood narrative from Epic of Gilgamesh and the Old Testament, the story of Noah, as well as answer keys to the second quiz review and the questions to the hunter gatherer readings. All right. So, this is the answer key for the comparative stories of the flood from the Epic of Gilgamesh and the first book of the Old Testament, which is the book of Genesis. Okay, so question one: in each story, what role did humans play in the cause of the flood? In the Epic of Gilgamesh, there were too many people making too much noise, okay, and they woke the gods up. How do we know this? Because in the Epic of Gilgamesh, it says, in those days the world teemed, the people multiplied, the world bellowed like a wild bull, and the great God was aroused by the clamor. Okay, so there are too many people making too much noise, and that made the gods upset. In the book of Genesis, mankind was wicked and sinned greatly. All his thoughts and heart were continually evil, and God wished he had not created man. And that is in Genesis 6, verses 5 to 6. Okay. Question two: what did the gods intend to be the effect of the flood? Okay. In the Epic of Gilgamesh, the effect was to kill all of mankind. And according to the Epic of Gilgamesh, it says, so the gods agreed to exterminate mankind. There was silence. All mankind was turned to clay. In the book of Genesis, in Genesis 6, verse 7, God says the flood will destroy man and beast. So in both stories, the flood is sent to destroy everything on the earth. Question number three: what were the names of the central characters in each story and what do they have in common? Okay. In the book of Gilgamesh, the main characters are Enlil and Ea. All right. They are the gods. Then you have Utnapishtim, his family, his kin, the craftsman. Okay. And he must have been a good man to find favor with the gods because he's going to be protected in this flood. Okay. And the quote that we have from the Epic of Gilgamesh: Enlil did this, but Yah, because of his oath, warned me in a dream. Okay, so Enlil is going to destroy the earth. Yah warns Upnapishtim of what's going to happen, and Upnapishtim is able to save himself, his family, his kin, and the craftsman. In Genesis, of course, you have God, and then you have Noah, his wife, his sons, and the wives of his sons. Noah was also a good man who found favor with God. And from Genesis 6:8, 6:9 to 10, and 6:18, that's where we get proof of these main characters. Okay. So both main characters have found favor with God or the gods, and that's why they're going to be saved from this flood. Question number four. Okay. In detail, describe what each central character is asked to do. Okay. In Gilgamesh, Utnapishtim is supposed to tear down his home, build a boat, give up his possessions, and take animals into the boat to save his soul. Okay. And here's the passage from Gilgamesh that tells us that. O man of Shuruppak, tear down your house and build a boat, abandon possessions and look for life. Despise worldly goods and save your soul alive. Then take up into the boat the seed of all living creatures. I loaded into her all that I had of gold and of living things, my family, my kin, the beasts of the field, both wild and tame, and all the craftsmen. In Genesis, Noah is to build an ark for him and his family. He is to stock it with supplies and two of every kind of animal. And we get those instructions from Genesis 6:14 to 6:22. Okay. So in both stories, the central characters are supposed to build a boat, save their families, and save creatures as well. Okay. Question five: how did each central character determine that the flood was over? In Gilgamesh, Utnapishtim released a dove, a swallow, and a raven after the boat got stuck on the mountain of Nasur. The raven did not come back. I loosed a raven. She saw the waters had retreated. She ate, she flew around, she called, and she did not come back. In Genesis, after the ark comes to rest on Mount Ararat, Noah releases a raven and a dove. They come back. He releases the dove a second time, and it does not come back. And Genesis 8, 1 through 12 describe that story. All right. So in both tales, birds are released. Sometimes they come back when there's enough dry ground. They don't. Okay. That's the key, that we can leave the boat and everything's okay. Question 6. Okay. How did each central character mark the passing or end of the flood? In Gilgamesh, a sacrifice and a libation, that's a liquid offering, are made. And from Gilgamesh, it says, Then I threw everything open to the four winds, 7 and again 7 cauldrons I set up on their stands. I heaped up wood and cane and cedar and myrtle. Then the gods smelled the sweet savor. They gathered like flies over the sacrifice. In Genesis, Noah removes the cover from the ark. He builds an altar and offers a sacrifice to the Lord. Then he and his family and the animals leave the ark. And that's told in Genesis 8:13 to verses 9:29. Okay, so Genesis 8:13 to chapter 9:29. Now, question 8 is kind of an opinion question. All right, list at least 3 ways the two stories differed from each other. That is up to you. Okay, I will let you answer those on your own. Okay. I skipped question 7. I'm sorry. Let me go back to question 7. How did the god or gods of each story react to the outcome of the flood? In Gilgamesh, the gods gathered around the sacrifice. Ishtar did not let Enlil come because he had brought the flood. Enlil was angry at first, but eventually blesses Utnapishtim and his wife and gives them eternal life, okay, which is, and they can live at the mouths of the rivers, okay. That's in the second paragraph and the last 3 paragraphs of the account, okay. In Genesis, God promised not to flood the earth again and sealed the promise with a rainbow. All right. That's in Genesis 8:21 to 22 and Genesis 9:11 to 9:17. Okay. All right, so now back to question 8. All right, back to question 8. List at least 3 ways the two stories differ from each other. That's really an opinion question. I'll let you do that on your own. I mean, certainly we can point out that the Genesis account only has one God, where the Epic of Gilgamesh has multiple gods. In the Genesis account, it is pretty clear that God is going to destroy the earth. Okay, he makes that known. In Gilgamesh, Enlil deceives mankind about the flood and actually tells them it's not going to happen. So there's another difference. Okay, in Gilgamesh, it rains for 6 days and 6 nights. In Genesis, it rains for 40 days and nights. All right, so those are just 3 differences. But again, it's kind of an opinion question. I want you to answer question 8 on your own, okay? And the last 2 questions are also opinion questions. What are the implications of having 2 sources report on the same event? And do the common elements found in both stories enforce or lessen your belief that the story is true, and why? Okay, and those are definitely opinion questions. You cannot get marked off for that. I look forward to reading your responses to those. So take some time and answer those 2 opinion questions. If you have any questions on these answers or anything like that, please email me. Let me know. Come see me in virtual office hours via Zoom. Come in on Wednesday. We can talk about it on Wednesday if you want to. But let me know if you have any questions or concerns. And again, I'm sorry I got some of the questions out of order there just a second ago. Hope you guys are doing well. Have a good rest of the week.